All right, let's switch gears now. President Joe Biden is unveiling a new multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure plan that includes fixing roads and bridges, even expanding broadband internet access. But it's all coming with higher corporate taxes to pay for that package. Joining us now, business and market analyst Seth Denson. Seth, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us again.
Good morning, Rachel.
Now, lawmakers are already divided on this multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure plan. Republicans questioning the price tag. Some progressive Democrats, though, saying the administration should have gone even bigger. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, yeah, I'm sure that some on the left are saying that because why let a good crisis go to waste, right? But no, here's the real thing. Infrastructure was the one thing during the Trump administration I thought we were going to find some bipartisanship on. And we do need some infrastructure rebuild. But if I could use probably a really bad analogy, if you've got a young person with a job that can't even cover their rent, the last thing you want them to do is go, invest in lottery tickets. And the reality is what we're doing is we're investing dollars today that won't be paid off. We're on the heels of a year where we spent $15 trillion between stimulus and regular spending. And sadly, roughly 25% of this bill is actually going to infrastructure. The rest of it, it's going into lottery tickets.
And that's an interesting analogy you make. And we talk a lot about these bills. They have a title on the front. This is the infrastructure plan, but what's really hidden inside? So Seth, explain to us, the average American, we know, not making $400,000. President Biden has been very adamant saying that if you are making less than $400,000, you will not see any tax hike. What's going on there?
Well, he's right. You won't see a tax hike, but you're going to see an indirect tax impact. And you're going to see it significantly. So let's just, that gallon of milk you got to go buy, it's going up. That fuel you got to put in your car, it's going up. All the things that we buy as Americans are going to go up because what happens when you effectively increase the corporate tax rate 30%, right? We're all talking about this 21 to 29. But 21 to 29 is north of 30% of an increase. So that's going to go back into all the goods and services we buy. Democrats like to talk about not taxing those under a certain income level. And we always think about, oh, well, they're impacting Jeff Bezos with this. No, they're impacting the guy down the street that owns a small business. And to cover his expenses, he's going to have to inflate the goods of his services.
And that's what we've seen regularly. And it's interesting how people don't quite make the connection. And it's easy to miss. It is easy to miss that if you're not taxed, the companies, like you said, the small businesses, the corporate tax rates, that's going to affect everything that you now have to invest in. Essentially our economy. So in response to this unveiled plan, former President Donald Trump said it is, quote, a radical plan to implement the largest tax hike in American history and is a massive giveaway to China. He also said many other countries, but many people talking about the relation to this plan in China. Do you think it's going to send jobs to other competitive nations?
Yeah, when I first read the draft of this, or at least what was coming out of this about 3 or 4 days ago, I said this is going to be the best $3 trillion package that China's ever seen. And the reason I said that is because when you increase the cost of doing business in one place, that business goes somewhere else. So, we talked about the goods and services that you're going to buy going up, but in addition to that, what also is going to go down, well, your opportunity for wage increases, your opportunity for expansion. Right now, the cost of capital is really low, and businesses are already looking at how they can invest in technology to eliminate some jobs, to reduce overhead expenses. This is going to drive them to do that even more.
So what about the people saying it could actually hinder the economy? Of course, I think we're all in a mindset right now where we need to get the economy back up and running. We need to get businesses open. We need to get people back into their workplace to stimulate the economy. A lot of analysts are saying that this is going to, in fact, halt that, and it's going to take years because infrastructure projects take years to roll out while those higher taxes are going to affect the economy once again. So when will we ever see a positive impact from this?
Yeah, I'll gladly pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today, except we're not getting the hamburger today. We're going to get it in 8 years. And so we've already lived on the credit card. For the last year, we've been living on a credit card. We've racked up $15 trillion in expenses. And so when you do that, that's going to impact growth long term. Listen, the stimulus that we've already spent, we can argue whether or not it was necessary, but it appears that it has worked. It's stabilized and the economy's on the growth. Most trajectories are the economy's going to grow over the next year. What you can't do now is go shackle business and corporations that are going to hinder that growth and do it in a way that you're not going to get the return on that investment for possibly years down the road.
All right, Seth, I have less than a minute left. What do you see happening moving forward with this bill?
Well, listen, I think that, the Democrats may pick it apart and find a way to get some of this through reconciliation. I think that, again, you got to go back to a couple of key senators on the Democratic side that may have the ability to pull this back. But sadly, I think there's enough money in this that they're going to offer pet projects to these folks to try to push it through. And sadly, this is where we are in Washington right now.
All right, Seth Denson, thank you so much for joining us, and as always, for your insight.
Thanks, Rachel.